in the last couple weeks. Things have gone really well, and I haven't posted any videos or anything, but I have been making some, and I'm gonna post them real soon. But something that just kind of came to my mind, something that I wanted to talk about, was something that had been brought up to me last night, which is the idea of creation and the earth being created in 6 literal days, or millions of years. And just thinking back to what I've learned over the years in just school and growing up in Christian school and church and everything like that, I've always been taught that it's been 6 literal days. And so I've just over the years come across people, though, in college who, although they are Christians and stuff, they still have other beliefs towards it. They've been kind of brought up in churches that maybe believe otherwise, and maybe a more scientific view of fossils or other things that have been studied in the earth that show that the earth is like millions or billions of years old. And that just kind of really sparked an interest in me to just kind of like do a little bit of research on that this morning, and kind of review what God's actually just shown me recently. Because when it was brought up to me last night, I thought back to a verse that I had just read a few days ago, and then in my research, kind of just praying about, like, just talking about this and stuff, and God just showed me this verse again in my research, that this is what a lot of people who believe in the 6 literal days point to this verse, and I didn't even really realize that. And God kind of made it clear and evident to me that it is 6 literal days. So first thing that I want to point out is that I have just started reading the Bible from beginning, and I'm going to read it all the way to the end, just as I have just felt that God just calling me to just do that and just learn more about Him and His characteristics and His personality, and just understanding Him better will help me to understand what He has for me in my life, just kind of connecting with Him more. So what I did was I started in Genesis, and in Genesis 1, of course, it talks about the account of creation. So something that always stuck out to me is that at the end of each day, which is what's being debated, in those verses and stuff, at the end of them it says, for example, when God first created for the first day light, at the end of that verse it says, and evening passed and morning came, marking the first day. And then for the second day, and evening passed and morning came, and it marked the second day, etc. So it says that after each of the days. And that just automatically, just reading over that just recently, just really kind of stuck in my mind that there really was no doubt, like not really even thinking about whether it was a literal day or not. Like, I just thought that, the Bible, it needs to be taken, I think, basically literally, or a lot of other things in the Bible could be questioned. And so just reading from the New Living Translation, that was in Genesis 1, the verse that really stuck out to me, that I kind of immediately thought about when it was brought up to me last night about, whether or not, really was 6 literal days or whatever. I couldn't think of it right off the top of my head, but when I opened my Bible up this morning, I came right to it. So I really believe that God has placed upon my heart that it is 6 literal days, because in Exodus 20:11, it says, "For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens, the earth, the sea, and everything in them. But on the 7th day He rested." And then it finishes by saying, "This is why the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and sets it apart as holy." So it just points out that in 6 days God made all of those things, and God just kind of ties that all together. Just a separate book later, just referring back to the time that He created things. And I think that that's pretty clear that you can account for 6 literal days. And just reading something that I researched here on Kenneth Ham's website, which is www.answersandgenesis.org/creation. it talks about the necessity for believing in 6 literal days. And he goes into what the meaning of day means in Genesis when it talks about, evening and the morning was the first day. And so when it says day, it basically, just quoting from what he says here, it says the Hebrew word for day in Genesis chapter 1 is the word yom, Y-O-M. It is important to understand that almost any word can have 2 or more meanings depending on context. We need to understand the context of the uses of this word in Genesis chapter 1. And he says that yom means basically an ordinary day with a, with the sun coming up in the morning and then rising in the evening. So that really just points that out. And then he goes into talking about what if there really were, a lot of people believe, what if the days were millions of years? And something really interesting that was pointed out was that if the days were millions of years, and if Adam was created on the 6th day, and it says in the Bible that he lived for only 900 and I think it was 85 years. Let me just make sure here. Something around there. 30 years. That there would just be major problems with the way that it is looked at, because he didn't live for, 930 years, is almost 1,000 years, and so he didn't live for millions of years. And if the earth was created and every day was millions of years, that just, maybe wouldn't really make a lot of sense. So that was really interesting to me. So just tying those things together and focusing on that, and particularly focusing on that one verse in Exodus 20:11. Just really think and pray about it and see what God guides your heart to believe as far as that goes. I haven't done a lot of other extra research or anything, but as God leads that onto my heart, I may look into more of it and post some more things up on that. But I know just from what I've heard that there are a lot of scientific evidences that point to that the earth was, created in 6 literal days, and also to the fact that the earth now is no more than like 5,000 or 6,000 years old. And to get a lot of these answers, this same website that I was talking to you about before, answersingenesis.org, through Kenneth Ham, who's an awesome creationist of this day, just kind of gives some answers to that. So if you're looking for some answers to your questions as far as that goes, I'm not really trying to persuade you either way, but I'm just kind of looking at the facts and just taking what God's guiding me to just present to you. So may God bless you in all that you do, and just continue to grow you and hold you in His loving arms. Only by living according